Hi. Sorry, I'm like still getting ready, but I put a question in the chat for you guys to answer. What's one thing you know to be true about yourself? But I just need like 5 minutes. But I just didn't want you guys, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging and then you guys not be sure if I'm still doing it or not. Shoot, where's my phone? I wish I could play music, but copyright strike. Ooh. Oh my God, I'm stressed. I don't know what to wear. I don't want to just wear this. I want to wear. I get money when I'm up. I get money when I'm. I mean, maybe I will just wear this, but I don't want to wear. I didn't want to wear black. Um. I mean, I guess I could wear this shirt. It's not my favorite shirt, though. No, I don't want to wear this. No, I am not getting ready for a date. I'm literally getting ready for the live stream and I'm just late and trying to figure out what shirt I want to put on. This is I wish it was a little date. But I wanted to at least start it because I didn't want people to think I wasn't doing it. So that's why I just started it as I'm finishing getting ready. But I'll be ready in like 5 minutes. I just need to put on a top. And yeah, if you're just joining, share in the chat what is one thing you know to be true about yourself? Because it kind of ties into something we're going to talk about today. Or it does, not kind of. I need to stop saying that. I get money when I'm up. You know what? Maybe I will just leave it like this because I don't know what else to wear. And oh, I guess I could wear this top. I like this top. Well, it's just like a raggedy t-shirt, but and it's super wrinkled, but it is what it is. I get money when I'm up. I get money when I'm. I didn't even have time to get my eyebrows together. What is this Google Life thing? Okay, now let me just tell our friends on Instagram that I'm on. and then we gonna get into it. I feel like everything is just. I leave this open because, yeah, or else you're gonna get the glare. Get money when I. Okay, hold on. Let me just put that I'm live on here. Do you guys see my, for those of you guys who follow me on Instagram, when I post notes, do you guys see them? Oop, this light is way too bright. I feel like I look crazy right now. Okay. And as always, I feel like I'm tilted. Oops. Sorry for the 7-minute delay to tell the friends who, we'll have to tell the friends who are, who watch the replay to, guys, I'm not feeling this look. Is it just me? Do glasses help? Because I guess glasses help a little bit, but I'm just going to have to not look up because then you guys are going to see the ring light. Okay. Ugh, sorry for the chaotic start. And my mirror looks crazy because I broke it. Well, I don't know what I did. And then I'm going to change. It is what it is. It is what it is, friends. Whew. Hello. Still not liking the lighting. It's almost like there's too much light. Sorry. Okay. Well, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. And then I'm just going to post on my stories. Hello. I feel like I look like a hot mess. Okay, thank you, because I feel like I look crazy. Oh, I'm going to talk about it. The event I went to, it was called An Evening with Mara Brock-Akil, who is the creator of the show Girlfriend. She also created Being Mary Jane. She created The Game. She created, I don't know if you guys watched Forever. It's a new-ish show on Netflix. She created that show. And they were basically celebrating her and her career. And then they brought out special guests throughout the night who were very big names. We're going to get into that. And she was just sharing a lot about her journey and whatnot. And like, guys, I had full body chills for most of the time. Like, it was such a great event. I'm so inspired by her and how spirit led her career has been. Like, she is definitely someone who I look up to. You guys should follow her on Instagram if you're not already. But she has just created so many amazing shows. She's an amazing storyteller. But that event was to celebrate her. And actually, let me, I'm just going to put a black square up and just say live on YouTube now. Usually I'd have all of this done, but let's just do this. Okay. Live on YouTube right now. Instagram is so weird. Like, I feel like I can't even put the link. So I'm just going to put, because what? You guys just saw the live up on my profile, right? I'm just going to, let me just make sure. Oh my God, this is crazy. The live looks crazy, but on my profile, but at least you can, you guys, it's so funny. Like if you go to my YouTube page right now and look at like where it says it's a new era, it's just like a blank, whatever, because I just did not prepare. Anyways, youtube.com/Tiffany Davis. youtube.com/Tiffany Davis. Oh, you saw about the live on my IG stories? Let me just put the alert button. Alert. You're gonna be like, girl. Okay. 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 Hello, friends, and welcome to That's Real Live. If you're new here, my podcast is all about creating the life you want, not the one you were told to live. And I just talk a lot about the importance of kind of tracking these moments that make us say that's real, these moments that really resonate with us, that spark joy or curiosity in some way, because I do think that's the best way to kind of really understand our truth, who we are, what we're here for, and to follow that. And, you know, it's funny because this is going to annoy me. It's funny because today I woke up just really so, okay, wait, no, let me backtrack for a second. Oh, and actually, before I get into it too, the format of these live streams is I just chit chat with you guys. Feel free to ask me literally anything in the chat. And it's kind of just like a free for all. There's literally, we can talk about anything, but I'm kind of kicking it off with talking about just the start of this new era. I personally feel it really deeply. I don't know if you guys do, but I genuinely just feel like our new chapter is here. And it's so funny because leading up to this, you know, you guys know for the past few months, I've kind of been a little up and down. And there was something about like on the last day of September, there was something about like, okay, tomorrow's going to be October 1st that just made me want to lock in on creating a new reality for myself or co-creating a new reality for myself, because I truly believe we are always co-creating with the creator. And it just made me really want to lock into this. So I kind of started this like co-creation journey on the 1st of October, and I'm definitely going to dive in more on this, I feel like, in other videos too. But what's interesting is I've been kind of just trying to track, you know, what's on my heart, like as I intentionally co-create. And today I woke up with this feeling of, and I think I wrote it down. Hold on. Did I write it down? Please tell me I wrote it down. So I wrote this down. Today, I remembered that whenever I pursue what I'm truly into, doors unlock. It's never failed me. I think I just forget sometimes. And especially due to years of feeling like I had to go against what I wanted in order to survive. So I don't know if that resonates with anyone, but I feel like for the longest, like for about a year or so, I've kind of been like spinning, like, oh, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to talk about on social? Like, what is it that I want to pursue right now? Right. And it's so funny because like during this time, I've been getting really deep into inner work. I've been getting also pretty deep into just like the creative journey and stuff like that. And it's been really fun for me. I've honestly been loving it. And it just dawned on me like, Tiff, like whenever you followed other passions, like for example, there was a point in time where I was obsessed with fashion. I knew all of the editors, especially the Black editors. I knew the designers. I interned with Tracy Reese, which I don't know if you guys know Tracy Reese. She's a Black designer who I had the incredible opportunity to intern for when I was living in New York years ago. This is what, like 10 years ago now? But I was so into that industry for a time. And thank God I was, because it led me to meeting my mentor who told me about the MBA program in Paris. It led me to turning down an offer with one of the big four accounting firms because I knew it wasn't right for me and wanted to pursue this fashion thing. And it was literally like, once I turned that down, a month later, I had an opportunity to work in fashion for honestly one of the leading retailers in the world, right? In their corporate headquarters. So I was just kind of thinking about all of this and I'm like, okay, if now what I'm really into is creating the life I want, creating a new reality for myself, co-creating this and really diving into the process and what it's all about, why don't I just go hard and pursue that right now? So I'm kind of right now trying to figure out how do I want to share this? What do I want to do with it? Because I don't know, I'm really into this. Like there's so many books I'm trying to read right now. Like it's really just what's on my heart for some reason right now. So I decided I'm really going to try to pursue it. And it's funny because it was almost like the day I declared this, things just started flowing. Things just started moving. And it's funny because earlier this week, I found this podcast episode with Sanaa Lathan, which she was, she's the star of Love and Basketball. She was also in The Best Man. I hope do you guys know who she is? I wish I could can I put, oh no, I can't put photos and stuff in this chat, but she's a great actress and she was on this podcast just talking about the unfolding of her career and honestly how she manifested her role in Love and Basketball. And she's talking about how, and in the podcast episode she was talking about how how did it happen? Hold on, let me get the story straight in my mind so that I can share it with you guys. Oh, okay. This is what it was. She was talking about how the script even came to her, right? I think someone called her and her friend were taking a hike. Someone called her and was like, "Hey, we need to read this script for," I don't know if it was an investor or someone like that. They were like, "We need to read this script out loud to this investor." And the person who was supposed to read the person who was supposed to read the part of the lead is out sick. Would you be open to coming in and reading for us? And her initial reaction was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And her friend who she was with was like, no, I actually think that's a really great script. Like you might want to look into it. So she ended up just going and reading the script. They ended up getting the deal. And the creator of the show, I believe it was the creator of the show. Hold on. Gina. Yeah, Gina, who I think she goes by Gigi. Gina Prince Bythewood. So she remembered her performance. It just kind of like stuck with her. And it's funny because when they actually started to cast for the role of the lead, when they actually started to cast for that role, they were like, we want a basketball player. This role was meant for a basketball player to play. And Sanaa is not a basketball player, right? She's an actress. But because because the creator of the show was so blown away by her performance during the reading, they were like, let's just keep her in the loop. Like, let's have her audition, all of the stuff. And it got to the point where, you know, they were kind of still looking for the basketball player, but kind of still having Sanaa around. And it got to the point where even Sanaa's agents and people were kind of like, girl, like, you need to let this go. Like, they're just keeping you around now just to see if anything better shakes out. Like, it's time to pull out. And at the time, and I believe still, she had this spiritual mentor, and she was talking to her about this opportunity. And she was kind of like, oh, you know, everyone's telling me to pull out of it, all of the stuff. And her mentor was kind of like, well, do you like acting? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, well, is there anything else you're doing right now? And she was like, no. And she was like, keep at it, but have fun with it, right? Like, don't be so tight about it. Like, just have fun with it. Enjoy the experience. You love to act. Enjoy the experience of acting and pursuing this opportunity. So the next week she like goes in and they're still having her audition. It was funny because she was saying like they would have her act and she'd love it. And then they would have her play basketball and she'd be like, I'm not a basketball player. This is hard, right? So she decided to look at the experience and approach the experience in a completely different way. She had fun. She got to the point where she didn't really care if they booked her or not. Like, she was literally just having fun with the process of acting. And a few weeks later, she got the part. I was shook to my core. And I think for me, it also just was a really good, I think for me, it just really helped me remember the importance of play in whatever it is that we're pursuing. Like, I feel like sometimes we can get so tight around what it is we're creating or what it is we're doing. And I think the more we can have fun with it, the more we can just genuinely play with what we're doing and not feel so forced to do it. Because I think that's another thing. If you feel forced to do something, it's probably not super aligned for you. Like, I don't think anything should really feel like a force. But it just made me remember the importance of incorporating play in whatever I'm doing. So that's something I'm trying to remember when it comes to this whole co-creating and whatnot. So what was really interesting too was, okay, me finding this video happened earlier this week, right? Then October 1st comes around, which again, remember, October 1st is the day I was like, I'm going to be intentional about co-creating my reality. And I had bought tickets to the event, the Mara Brock Akil event that I'm going to get into. I'm walking to the event and I'm walking to the event and I run into this girl who's also going to the event. Super sweet, super kind. Her energy was great. So we ended up sitting together. And again, I only went to this event because I have just been so inspired by Mara Brock Akil's journey. And for any of you guys who just hopped on, I'm talking about an event that I went to Wednesday night that was called An Evening with Mara Brock Akil, Forever Our Girlfriend. And they were calling it that because Mara created the show Girlfriends. I don't know if any of you guys have watched that show. It's a great show. So it's Tracy Ellis Ross is the star of the show, one of the stars of the show. Actually, how many of you guys have seen Girlfriends? Let me know in the chat, or have seen Being Mary Jane. That's another one of her shows, or The Game, or Forever, the new show on Netflix. I mean, she's created even more than that, but those are just the ones that are coming to mind. And I have always been so impressed with her journey. A few months ago now, I think this was in June or July, a friend of mine who works at Netflix invited me to a screening of Forever, and Mara was there, and she was on a panel with two of the actors. And literally the first words that came out of her mouth, like, I was damn near in tears. It just, the way she talks about her career and her journey, and again, how spirit led it is, it just, there's something about it that just makes me remember who I am and what I can accomplish and achieve. And I don't know, she's always just been, from that moment, she's always just been someone who I've been following and have wanted to just learn more about, etc. So I go to this event. It was an awesome event. And it's also crazy is the creator of Love and Basketball was at the event and just talking about, you know, her career and her relationship with Mara and all of that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Because again, I was just listening to that podcast episode, but I'm telling y'all, I feel like when you make a decision, when you declare what you're doing in life, again, I feel like the world raises to meet you where you're at. Just something else I want to talk about in a bit. But there were a few quotes from the panel, the event that I went to last night that I wanted to share with you guys because I was shook to my core by them. And the more I just dive into this work of co-creating your reality and all of it, the more I see how it really comes down to you understanding who you truly are, who and what is aligned for you through that. And to me, that is the most powerful place to create from because it's not based on ego. It's not based off of what the mind wants, right? Which something I'm also trying to get out of is it's not about what you can create from your mind. It's about what you can create from within. And I do genuinely believe it's about tapping into what can come through you when you are super connected versus like you feeling like you need to do something outside of yourself to achieve something. Like to me, it's more of actually my osteopath and I were just talking about this. To me, it's less about, because at first I was like, and actually after I watched this podcast episode, I was like, I need to change my belief system. Like I need to, what I've learned is all wrong. And I feel like it's not about changing your belief system. It's about remembering who you are and knowing and standing in that. And actually, something else I also wrote down, I actually wrote this down, this was actually on my heart yesterday, is just, it's like I was feeling so angry. Like I was genuinely upset that we were all conditioned to believe. It was almost like we were all conditioned to abandon ourselves at some point in time. We were all conditioned to learn things that brought us further and further away from our truth. And I started getting mad about it. Like, why is it this way? Like, if we really knew who and what we are, I think our life would just naturally unfold through ease and flow. I think it's because we've learned and subscribed to it's like, I think because we've learned a lot of this different things throughout our life, it's harder for us to just freely manifest and just freely flow into what is right for us because we've been taught otherwise. I mean, there are just little things like, I'm trying to write, I actually wrote a list of these. Wait, hold on. I was heated. I was so upset. I was like, this is crazy that we are so much more than what we think we are, but a lot of us just don't know it. And it's not even our fault, right? It's no judgment. It's nothing like that. It's just more of like a wow. Like I know I spent the majority of my life not knowing who I really was. what did I write down? Okay. So for example, I wrote down, we've been taught to abandon ourselves for the sake of others, which I think is where we see like fear, doubt, and guilt shows up the most. I mean, think about it. In your circle of, like, in your support system, in your circle of people, right? Have you ever felt obligated to do something? That is, and then you do it. It's kind of like, why do we do that? We do that because we were told to maybe not put ourselves first. We do that because we've been taught, if you don't show up for someone in a certain way, it means you're a bad person or a bad friend. We do it because maybe we feel like it's the only way for us to feel like we belong or feel connected to another. Like, I feel like there are so many different reasons why we do things out of obligation. But when we do those things, it's like we are essentially abandoning ourselves and our truth, right? I feel like if we're really going to get something out of this life, we need to honor who we truly are. And that's personally what I'm after. I'm after uncovering who I really am, understanding who I really am, and creating from that place. Because I also think when you create from that place, it's a lot easier, so much easier than when you are trying to create from the, almost trying to create from this space full of collective conditioning that's not really you, right? And of course, it's going to be harder to create when you're not really being yourself. It's like, I don't know, did I ever post this podcast episode? I'm not sure, but there was an episode, I know I filmed it, where I was just talking about the law of least effort, which is in this book called, Stevie Sullivan said, I saw a quote related that hit me. It is, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Ooh, T, love that. Oh, this is like annoying me that I keep seeing my ring light in my sunglasses, but in my glasses, but wait, what was I saying? Oh, about the collective conditioning and all of that stuff. It's like, yeah, it's like, of course it's going to be harder to create that way. And there's this book called The Seven Spiritual Laws of Success. And one of those and one of the laws is the law of least effort. It basically talks about, you don't tell a fish to swim, it just swims. You don't tell a bird to sing, it just sings. There is something in you that's connected to your truth where you don't have to force it. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to strive for all these crazy things. It just flows naturally through you because it's what you are here to do. And I think a lot of us have trouble finding it. And this is another thing. It doesn't just have to be one thing. There was this quote that I saw earlier today that said, hold on. And it's so funny because at the event, that girl that I met, we were just talking about this. It's this Instagram account called The Career Archetypes. Highly recommend you follow. And there's a quote that says, we have been gifted with multiple interests and have forfeited pursuing them for acceptability, modern forms of progress, and a social agreement that singular pursuit, specialization is the only way to achieve success. And I was like, ooh, T, when I saw this, because for the majority of my life and my career, I have felt like I am so all over the place and whatever because I just haven't just picked one thing to pursue for the entirety of my life. I've always been someone who, for whatever reason, and I do not know how I became this way because I am also the most anxious person, I would say, or used to be the most anxious person because I'm trying to get out of that cycle. But I would just follow. If I was into fashion, I would try and follow fashion. If I was into something else, I would try to follow that. And I'm so grateful that I have done that throughout my life and through my career, because exactly what Stevie said, doing a bit of trial and error can help figure stuff out when you're trying to figure it out, right? I am so grateful that I tried certain things, because it's true. It allowed me to see what I felt like was aligned for me and also what just kind of wasn't, right? But going back to the going back to like what comes naturally to you and whatnot. This hold on a second. So going back to like, how we should pursue what comes naturally. And the whole what I was talking about, the whole manifestation thing in the podcast. Oh, that's what I was going to get into. So in the podcast, they were also again talking about the belief system and all this stuff. And that's what I was saying. So the first day of me kind of trying to do this, co-creating and whatnot, I was like, okay, I need to change my belief system, right? What do I believe to be true about myself? And especially because I do think the world is just a mirror for how we feel about ourselves. And I also think that what comes into our space, what comes into our what is brought up in our life, the people we meet, the situations we find ourselves in, all of it is to nudge us back into who we truly are. And I genuinely think that when we come across, it's so funny because, this is what it was. I was talking to my osteopath about this that same day, October 1st. And I was like, oh my God. And my osteopath is very much like mind, body, soul. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have to change my belief system. Like I need to believe that I can do these things. And she was kind of like, well, it's not about believing. It's about knowing. Because when you believe something, that's coming from your mind, right? That's something that you are trying to make sense of in your mind. When you know something, it's an innate knowing. It's linked to the divine presence within you. It's, you know this about yourself. And that's where we should be trying to get to. And she also said to me, when we discover things, and this actually kind of ties into whole that's real thing, when we discover things that really resonate with us, that we're just super interested in, that we can't stop thinking about, can't stop talking about, that is us remembering who we really are. It's not about I'm learning all of these things and all of these things are outside of us. It's about I'm remembering who I am, and this is helping me pull out who I really am, because it's resonating with me so deeply. Friends, when she said that to me, I was shook to my core. I was shook to my core. You're telling me, I was like, because you're telling me when I come across, even if it's a quote that really resonates, or if it's a story that I'm really inspired by, or a book, whatever it is, you're telling me if I deeply resonate with this thing, it's because it's helping me remember who I am. It's helping me pull out whatever that thing is inside of me that I'm here to do, that will flow naturally. Ooh, I was like, okay. And then it started to make me think, okay, if there are certain things that I resonate with that allow me to remember myself, what happened that caused me to forget who I am? How did I get here? Because for so long, friends, for so long, I was just like looking for things outside of myself. I was a very much smaller version of myself, right? And it's funny because I thought I was being true to myself. I didn't feel like, or I wasn't trying to be anyone that I wasn't. But I also didn't realize how much conditioning I had subscribed to that caused me to think a certain way. So, for example, I wrote this down too. How many of you guys have heard that success only comes after crazy hard work, after so much hard work. How many of you guys have heard that? What if I told you this is a part of like the collective conditioning programming? What if I told you that there is a way to do life where you are where it's more ease and flow and less forcing? That's what I'm after. I also think when you do I also think when you do follow those interests, it's like, yes, you are doing work, but it doesn't feel so hard. It doesn't feel like you're forcing it. So I guess that's the thing. It's like I'm not saying what you want to do or what you're here to do won't come with any work, but it will be aligned work. So it will feel like ease and flow. It will feel like play versus it being work that's not aligned, right? Which usually comes with a lot of force because we're essentially going against our natural gifts and talent. So of course it's going to be hard. Ooh. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. This is the stuff I was getting mad about the other day. I was like, why? How? I cannot believe that this has been so ingrained into our culture that I grew up believing this way and struggled so much because I was trying to do something that was never natural for me. So anyways, those are just a few examples, but even if you guys want to list out, like, let me know, like, what are things that you feel like you believed that just aren't really true or just never really resonated with you? What are the times in your life where you feel like you were forcing doors to open or forcing things to happen? Because I personally, yeah, I just spent so much time in that bubble when I was or earlier in my life. And now I'm like, nope, no more. Because again, it's like when you really think about it too, it's like I feel like when you force, when you're struggling, when it's like, like I'm trying to get this door to open, but it's not, and all of the things, you become miserable, right? It's not really a fun feeling. And again, going back to how the world around you mirrors what you believe about yourself and what you're doing. If you yourself feel miserable, that's what the world's going to mirror back to you. If you subscribe to this conditioning, that's what's going to be mirrored back to you. If you believe that success only comes after crazy hard work, that's going to be real for you. But if you know and remember, if you know and remember that your life can unfold beautifully through ease and flow, then I think that's what the world will mirror back to you. And I also feel like I'm on this journey right now because I feel like I reached a point where I really just felt disconnected from the world around me, as if the world around me has been built for a version of myself that I no longer resonate with. So now it's time for me to really dive into co-creating and working on myself so that the world around me reflects this version of me. Ooh, that's good. Stevie says, I never felt like I had the chance to figure out who I was or wanted to be until I got into adulthood. I mean, same here, honestly. And sometimes I think that's because it's like when we're younger, all we're learning is the how do I want to say this? I do think that when we're younger, all that we have around us is basically the conditioning that our parents or our teachers or whoever we're learning from has subscribed to. That's all we know when we're young. We don't yet have the wisdom to maybe explore outside of ourselves, or maybe we do. Maybe there's, kids who do. But I think when we're younger, it's like we really just are a result of the environment that we're in, which is also why I think it's so important to get outside of those environments, like when you reach the point in your life where you can, whether it's going abroad for a bit, whether it's visiting a new city for a bit, just doing something outside of your comfort zone. Again, like that, when I did that, when I moved around to different cities and was kind of just alone with myself, I feel like that's when I started to come into myself and started asking these questions like, why do I think this way? Is this true? And also, I will say, and also I'll say, oh, I just had it. I just had it. And then it left me. Oh, also, I'll say there were a lot of situations that I found myself in that felt very uncomfortable. But now looking back on it, I see how much it was they were just trying to push me into or pull out who I really am. It was trying to just help me unsubscribe from the BS. Sorry, I just got a text message. So, for example, let's say toxic friendship, toxic boss, toxic boyfriend, whatever it is. As horrible, and trust me, I have gone through it all. I have gone through it all. And something I used to wonder all the time too was, why do I feel like these situations I go through are like so extreme, right? It's never just a breakup. It's the most traumatic breakup I've ever experienced in life. It's not that I'm just dealing with a friend who maybe isn't aligned for me. The it's like the extreme of what that is. It's not just I'm going through a toxic in an unhealthy work environment. It is the extreme of what a toxic work environment is, right? I'm always like, why am I always going through things that are like so extreme? And then it hit me. These situations weren't sent to hurt me, weren't sent to make me spiral, weren't sent for me to be uncomfortable. They were to push me into what is aligned for me. They were to they were to make me fully understand who I am and myself, right? Because usually when we go through these situations, we're kind of like, okay, well, how do we navigate this? How do we figure this out? Honestly, I remember like my first extremely toxic work situation. When I was going through it, that's kind of what made me, or that's kind of what prompted me to dive into all of this stuff. But it's also funny because from a super young age, because I have journals from high school of me just like, dear universe, right? That's what I would say all the time. Dear universe, I'm going through this and I don't want to feel it. That's what it is. It's like, I feel like whenever we feel uncomfortable, whenever we feel like we're going through something, I feel like whenever we feel triggered, I think it's giving us the opportunity to look at ourselves and be like, okay, what's going on? Why do I have such a big reaction towards this thing? What is it that I need to heal within myself to not feel this way? And I say this because the best frequency or the optimal frequency to create on is when you're in pure neutrality. And when you see that something is bringing you out of neutrality, that's when it's time to do the work and figure out what that is. And what I love about this too, it's like it's never about the other person. It's never about the environment. It's never about the whatever the thing is that you're triggered by. It's about you understanding what you need to heal to not be so triggered by that. And when I learned this, I was also just like mind blown. And I think it's so powerful when you can get a handle on it too, because the majority of the world operates at this the majority of the world operates according to the collective conditioning, right? The conditioning that is not our truth, that is not our innate knowing, the conditioning that has pulled us out of our truth. So if you can learn how to be fully yourself and not subscribe to all of that, imagine how powerful you'll be. And imagine how much it'll make you see certain situations differently. Someone's constantly picking on you about something, because this is what I used to do when I was younger. It's like if someone was picking on me about something or telling me this is how I am and whatever, I would bring it it's almost like I would internalize it and think, oh, well, if that's what they think about me, if that's what they think about me, then that's what's true about me. When it's like, no, if they're triggered by you, if they have a big reaction towards you, usually has more to say about them than it does you. Because if we were all truly neutral, we would not be and all loved ourselves and we're all honoring our truth, we would not be so triggered by other people. And I feel like I need to do a whole episode on this because there's so much I could share on that I just don't know if I'll have time to get into all of it today. But that was also like a mind blown moment. Because sometimes whatever light you radiate, which makes me sad half the time, I don't think a lot of us can even see our light. Sometimes the light that you radiate can trigger others because they just haven't found theirs yet. So, anyways, going back into, sorry friends, like I get caught up in this stuff and I start, right, woo child, like I get caught up in this stuff and I just start going and talking and I listen because I did want to share about the event. See, it's real. It's real. It's real. And I think the more we can remember that this is real, the more we raise our consciousness, the more we uncover all the stuff that's not us, the more we start to spot what's not us, the more we start to move away from things that pull us back into that frequency that's based off of the conditioning of the world versus our true essence and our true self. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like the more I come into myself, the more I discover who I truly am and what I'm not, the more and it's funny because it's like, it's not even like a forceful thing. The more I've just naturally drifted from things that just aren't aligned for me right now. And for me, what I'm noticing is the things that aren't aligned for me are those things that make me feel like that smaller version of myself. Make me feel like that version of myself that subscribed to the collective conditioning of the world. And again, I'm still a work in progress. Like, I don't know if maybe the most enlightened people in the world, I don't know if everyone gets to the point where, they have completely unlearned every single unaligned thing that they were taught. I mean, I'm after it. That's where I'd love to get to. But I'm still a work in progress. But it's just the more I learn about this, the more I want to share, because I do genuinely think it has the power to help so many people like it's helped me. And it's almost like, oh my God, I don't want to start crying. It's almost like, and I don't mean to sound cliche, but it's like, I just think about the younger version of myself who just genuinely didn't know, and how she struggled so much with her identity and just using her voice and feeling confident in herself. But it was just because of all of the stuff that she believed was true about herself, even though it wasn't. And it just makes me sad that there are so many people in this world who just don't know who they are. They don't know what they carry. And I just don't want anyone to feel like that. I don't want to feel like that anymore. And I think that's what has encouraged me to really dive deep into this work, because I do think that there's an easier, more fulfilling way to live. And I'm not stopping until I get there. And that's kind of this path that I'm on right now. And I'm going to do my best to kind of like share every day, or I'm going to do my best to kind of track my learnings daily so that I can share them, because I don't know, I just don't think anyone should feel like they can't be who they truly are, especially if who they truly are is what unlocks everything for them. It's what sustains them. I'm at the point where it's like, listen, if who I truly am is, I don't know, the person picking up gum off the streets in Singapore, then that's what I'm going to be. If that's what the most empowered, most fulfilled version of myself looks like, that's what I'm after. Because I've just spent so many years doing it in a way that honestly was never sustainable for me. And again, I see now that it wasn't sustainable because I was pursuing, or I was going against the natural flow of who I am in my life. So yeah, whoo. I just had a moment. But anyways, unplugging is a lot of work, right? And it's crazy because it's only a lot of work because we have been, and it's only a lot of work because there's been so much layered on top of us throughout the years. That's not true, that we now have to like crawl ourselves out of just to find ourselves again. That's why it's a lot of work. But I don't know, there's just something about this space, and there's just something about this era of life right now. That's why I titled this "We're in a New Era," because it's like I can feel it so deeply, where it's like I'm like, now I'm making a conscious decision to do life differently now and to remember who I am, because I think that's when we ultimately get the results we were always trying to get. It's not sustainable, but I do think that there is a way to navigate it. I do think that there is a sustainable way to navigate it. So because I got off track. But what was I going to say? Going back to that event I attended. So where did I write down the quotes? Because these were some really powerful quotes that really resonated with me and registered as a knowing within me. So take what you want from this, leave what you don't. I also need to do, you guys, there's like so much in my mind right now. It's like, because even with this podcast and all of the stuff and all that I'm learning and all that I want to share, it's like I've been trying to figure out, like, how do I do this in a sustainable way? Because again, I want it to be fun. I want it to flow, because I feel like that's when I show up as my most empowered self. And I love doing the live stream, so I'm going to continue doing these. But then I'm like, do I just do audio podcasts just to get the information out there? And then, I don't know, maybe I do. I really miss doing vlogs, and I feel like those are fun for you guys too. So I don't know. There are so many things I want to do the more I get into this. And I'm like, there's only so much time in a day, but I'm trying. So going back to the event. So as I was saying, they brought out a bunch of really cool, interesting people and literal legends in the industry. And before, take these off. Yeah, I feel like the lighting's okay now. I don't know. The lighting was looking weird earlier, so I wanted to have these on because I feel it. Well, now I'm going to put them back on. I kind of like the look. But okay, so at this event, so the event, again, for any of you guys who jumped on later, was to celebrate Mara Brock Akil. She's the creator of so many amazing shows that I'm sure you guys have seen. And it was put on by this organization called the Hollywood Confidential. And the like literally from the start of the event, I was locked in. I was like, oh my God, this is resonating. So first they brought out this lady. Her name is Gigi Dixon. She's the head of external engagement for Wells Fargo. And because Wells Fargo was the sponsor of the event. And so she starts talking about the power of creativity. And she was talking about how creativity has the opportunity to remind the younger generation of what's possible. It reminds people of who they are. Oh my God, I have goosebumps right now. And it reminds people of who they are. And I was shook to my core because I feel like right now my journey is about remembering who I am. Right. And how crazy is it that that was the first day that I was like, I'm going to intentionally start this journey. And this lady is talking about it reminds us of who we are. And it just made me start to think about like my social media presence. And I want you guys to also think about whatever it is that you do, like whatever your craft is. And I'm not talking about your 9 to 5. I'm talking about whatever it is you feel like you've been called to do, whatever seems interesting and exciting to do. Because I started to talk about just like my presence on social media and like what I'm doing with my content creation, whatnot. And I was just like, wow, it really is to show people what's possible and to remind people of who they are. And that's why I want you to think about what your creative endeavors are, whatever they might look like. And I say creative endeavors because we are all creators. We are creations. So our natural way of doing and being is to create. So if you've ever felt like there's something in the creative industry that interests you, and when I say creative, it doesn't have to be arts. It doesn't even have to be social media. It doesn't have to be writing. Like it can be something else. People are creative with numbers. People are creative in all different ways. So just think about what resonates with you. And think about if you really pursued that thing, could you show people what's possible? Could you help people remind them of themselves? I bet you could. So something that I also loved from the event was, oh my God, the phenomenal Loretta Devine. And I really hope you guys know who she is. She's been in so many like legendary actress. She was in Waiting to Exhale. She was in Dreamgirls. I think she was one of the original Dreamgirls, right? Loretta Devine. Yeah. She was an original Dreamgirl. Just amazing career. Love her. So she came on stage and I was like, I cannot believe I'm like breathing the same air as not only Mara, but Loretta Devine too, and so many other actresses. So she gets on stage, her and Mara are talking about their careers and stuff. And the host was basically like, hey, like there are so many creatives in the room, like what advice would you give them on pursuing their dream? And Loretta said, I would advise you to be yourself. God gave you everything you need to succeed. And write your own song, like write your own theme song kind of thing. Because something that she said that she's always had a theme song for herself and her career. And hers goes, I'm Loretta Devine, the whole world is mine, and I'm gonna make it to the tip top. So that was kind of like her theme song of her career. And it's something that like she would always sing to herself, whether, you know, she was going to an audition or doing something. Like that was the theme song for herself, her life, for her career. And I'm like, that's so fun. I love that. Right. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like music just helps me come into myself. Like I think I was talking about on my last live how I'm like obsessed with Ken the Men right now. And she just makes me feel like the most empowered version of myself. And so it just made me think about, okay, like what is a theme song for my life? So that's something that I'm currently working on right now and it's not like you have to write a whole song, right? But like a one-liner, like what's your catchphrase? What's something that you know to be true about yourself? And when I say what you know to be true about yourself, don't write it from the smaller version of yourself that's again subscribing to all of these conditionings, but write it from if you can think of the most empowered version of yourself. The most, what is it? I actually got this from a podcast too. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but her name's Kathleen. Her name's Kathleen. If I can find it, I'll wait, what is it? It's the most not outstanding, grandest. That's what she calls it. If you can imagine the grandest version of yourself, the best possibility of yourself that you can imagine, your most empowered self, what does that person know to be true about you? I actually did this exercise yesterday. What did I write down? Because it might give you some ideas. Oh no, wait, I lost my other note. Child, I need to learn how to like also cut some of this down. Well, honestly, I feel like I just shared a lot of different topics today. And it's like, I feel like all of them could be like bite-sized, like podcast episodes or like quick things to remember. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that though. But wait, now I lost my notes. Okay. But I was writing this. Yes, affirmations, babe. Affirmations. But I wrote this down. Oh, God. Of course, like my journaling is like crazy. I write so much. But like I even wrote down things. Did I write this down? Like, I remember and know how much I love myself. Because if you remember and know how much you love yourself, I promise you'll stop abandoning yourself. And remembering this has made me see all of the times in my life. Well, maybe not all of them, but it's helped me recognize when I abandon myself. And I started to see, oh my God, I abandoned myself a lot. It could be as simple as someone says something to your face, like, I don't like you because of X, or you did blah, 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 right? There'd be times where I'd be like, oh, whatever, it's just them. And I wouldn't speak up for myself. But if you loved yourself, had respect for yourself, and knew it was aligned to say something, I feel like things would be a little bit different, right? Or I think I just started to see so many areas in my life where I let things slide. And it's like, nah, I love myself and I respect myself. So I'm going to start moving a little bit differently. It's like Ken the Men song, Try Me. If you don't know that song, look on my Instagram stories because that's the song I was singing to in the car. Anyways, wait, how did I get on this? Oh, because I was talking about the theme song. So yeah, it's like create it from a place of I know this to be true about myself. So this is going to be my one-liner. It could be as simple as I know I'm worthy and deserving of Oh, someone said, could some of it be turned into shorts instead of a full episode or video to help? You know what? Yeah, it's like maybe it's like I do that. Because initially I wanted to do the podcast because I was like, oh, if I do the podcast and do it video, like do the video version, put it up on YouTube, I'll have the audio for the podcasting platforms, and then I could kind of cut the video into smaller bits for like Instagram and YouTube shorts and stuff like that. But sometimes I'm like, maybe it's easier to just do it short form and then maybe have the live streams be my thing and then maybe have the audio, the podcast audio or something. Yeah, I need to figure it out. So, and actually, so based off of everything I'm saying, is there anything that you guys recognize as like just conditioning that's not serving you as you move into this new chapter of really knowing yourself? Or things that you believed that aren't true? Write that down in the chat. And then also, if you feel called to, and then also, what do you remember about yourself? What do you know to be true about yourself? It could literally be like, I know I'm a leader. I know I have a voice. I also wrote down something like, I know, oh my God, the airplane is distracting me. I remember I wrote down, like, I know that whatever room I enter, I contribute to it. I learn from it. Which is funny because when I made that declaration, I feel like that's when I met that girl on the way to the event. And then I was like chatting with her friends and stuff. And it was just like such a beautiful exchange, right? Like I contributed to that room in some way. Because think about your contributions. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy big thing. Like if you're contributing to a space, it doesn't mean you have to be like on stage holding the mic. It could be you're interacting with someone in the you're interacting with someone at the event. Maybe your light or in your presence, you just being you sparks light in someone else. Could be anything. Because this is also something I'm realizing. It's not about doing. It's about being. It's not about going outside of yourself to do something that you feel like you should do. It's about fully being. Because I feel like when you do that, that's when you kind of attract the aligned opportunities and all of that. Stevie says, I recently had an interaction with someone that made me realize that they still want me to be that smaller version of myself that no longer serves me. Ooh. I have had so many, not menti, hello, menti. I have had so many interactions like that this year too. And honestly, I feel like every time I feel like I'm getting ready to enter a next level, the more I'm like, oh, this is trying to pull me back and I'm not there anymore. Yeah, not aligned. And also remember, what's not aligned for you, it doesn't mean you need to push anything away. But it just means, maybe you need to have some boundaries and move towards what is aligned for you. Never settle. Never settle. I know I'm an empath. Same here. Same here. And actually, if you watch that Sanaa, you know what? I'm going to put it in the chat, the Sanaa Lathan manifestation thing, because she actually talks about being an empath too and like switching her thinking. Because like she used to feel like, okay, I know I'm an empath and I kind of like internalize people's emotions, but it's like, no. What about knowing, okay, yeah, I'm an empath, but I'm always free to be myself. I don't take on the emotions and things of others. Because the best thing for me now has been this plane, man. Can you hear that plane? The best thing is also when you can recognize it, but then push that energy back onto them. Let it bounce off of you and back onto them to deal with. But let me send you guys this episode. Sanaa Lathan manifestation. It's such a great episode. Feel free to watch this when you have a chance. But don't watch it now. I'm in the season of quietness, observe, self-assessing. Yes, I love that. Amen. It made me realize how far I've come, that I could spot it and realize that's a them issue and I don't need to. Yes. Oh my God, Stevie. Yes. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you because I know how much inner work it takes to get there. And it's a lot of like looking within yourself too, because it's like I'm sure we've all been that person too, right? I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. So then I just have a few more quotes to share, but Another quote that I love, so Mara said this. So they were asking her, like, why do you think Girlfriends was such a huge success? And there were so many different things. One thing she said were humans just want to be seen. We want to be seen. And I think right before that show, it was, the Sex and the City, which were for white women navigating New York, love, all the stuff. And Girlfriends, Mara's show, was for Black women. And she was just like, I felt like Black women needed to be seen. And that's why she created the show. Oh my God, I have goosebumps sharing this too, because the more I think about just like how I've shared my story and even like what I want to share about my journey, it's to help myself and other people feel seen, to give myself the courage to be like, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. Because I've noticed for me, the more I share whatever's on my heart, the more other people react to that. And then I almost feel more seen in what they share and like what it's almost like I feel seen in the parts of my story that they resonate with. Right? It's almost like, wow, I'm not the only one that went through that. If that's what resonates with them too. So I think it's just a beautiful thing to just share your stories or just share your craft or share whatever you're doing because not only yes, it helps other people, but I think it also really helps you. And your life is about you. So then, okay, so I love that she said that. She also said they liked the show because it was imperfect. It wasn't perfect, which I love too because as y'all know, I'm a recovering perfectionist. No, what do I want to call myself? I'm trying not to say I'm a perfectionist because I'm trying to again break that cycle. And I know I'm not a perfectionist. When I really think about my true self, I know my true self is fine with being imperfect, right? So I think that's again that conditioning, that conditioning. But I'm that perfectionism, man. I feel like trying to be perfect is something that brings us out of or away from who we really are. Because our true nature, right? No one's perfect. Perfect is an illusion. Like no one is perfect. And I think when we're trying to be perfect, it takes us away from just being real, being ourselves. So yeah, I'm unsubscribing from being perfect. Like I literally don't want to even try to be perfect anymore. It's like I just want to be me and let things flow. I think sometimes for me, sometimes I get attached to and I think sometimes I get attached to the okay, like do I need to do this a certain way? Because one thing, guys, I'm thinking about starting a Substack. What do you guys think about that? And if you're already on my email list, I've set it up so that I imported my email list and I think you'll get an email from my Substack. So it's kind of like you're on the list, but of course you can like opt out whenever you want. But I have been thinking about starting a Substack just to kind of document more of this journey. And oh, you started one? Let me know what you think about it and how you're liking it. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, is it going to be a ton more work? But again, if it flows and I'm having fun with it, that's something I've been thinking about. But in doing Substack, I've kind of been like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. But again, I think I just need to give myself the freedom to not, or permission to not show up perfectly with that. Was there another one? Oh, this was the other one. I think she was talking about her career and she said, you have intuition. Something pulls you in a direction and I think you should trust it. Mic drop. That was another one that I loved. Um, For writing podcasts and other things. Yeah, so I saw that. So I saw it had the podcast option, but I was like, I don't know if I want to host my podcast on Substack though. Intuition is your superpower. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to go about it, because I know that like writing is the thing, like you write the articles or whatnot, and I know they have like that section where it's almost like Threads or X, where you can like write little blurbs to your community. I saw you can also leave voice notes, which I thought was really cool, because I'm actually now thinking of if I record the audio version of the podcast, like doing it more like I'm just sharing voice notes with you guys versus it being like, welcome to blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I kind of just want to share. And yeah, I know the platform can do a lot. And I think it could be a good way to share the podcast or like when I'm doing live streams so that people actually get an email versus just seeing it on Instagram or something like that. But right? I like the idea of voice notes too, because honestly, I feel like most of my episodes are kind of like 15, 20 minutes long. They're not super long, especially because it's just me. And then maybe eventually when I have guests on, like those will be like the longer format or the longer podcast episodes. But I kind of like the idea of just like giving you guys like a quick voice note, like, hey, this is what I learned, or like this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling. And then you guys kind of like get that quick insight that way. Yeah, I'm really thinking of doing that. And I think it also might be fun to just like share like my updates and like what I'm learning on this like co-creation journey easier that way. Yeah, I think I'm going to run with that. I also started a community on Teams where I plan to use to schedule things like, group meditations and stuff. Oh, that's really cool. I love that. Like something else that's been on my heart is maybe like hosting. I don't know if it's like a workshop but hosting something where we all come together on Zoom and can actually see and interact with each other and kind of talk about all of this stuff. And maybe it's like I present a topic, but it's a little bit more interactive than just these live streams. And it's really where we get into it and just share and talk through things. Because I feel like with live streams, it's like it's cool and like people can talk in the chat, but I feel like when you're in an environment where it's like you're actually seeing, okay, no, like these are real people with real stories and who are also trying to come back to themselves. Like I feel like it's a different experience. So let me know if any of you guys would be interested in that, because it's something that I've just been thinking about a lot, just to get people together. Because I mean, in a perfect world, I love to do it more in the physical, but I know all of you guys aren't based in LA. So I don't know. I do feel like there's something around there that that I do want to do. So anyways, friends, that's all what's been on my mind, my heart. Questions, comments, concerns? Right. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. It's kind of like, yeah. And it's like when you're just all you see is the person's like name versus actually seeing them. Yeah. I feel you. Yeah. I want to try and figure out a way to do this. And it's like, maybe then, yeah, maybe I can like kind of structure my Substack so that there's a version where people can opt into these live streams or something. I don't know. Yeah. I'll figure that piece out. Ooh, can you do meets like that on Substack? That would be cool if there was like a way to, because I would totally do that through Substack. I need to look into it. But if you have any last questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If not, I'm gonna bounce because I really want to make some nachos. Yesterday I went around and got all the ingredients to make some nachos. Ooh, oh my God. There's this brand that I'm loving called Siete, because y'all know I have like every intolerance under the sun. And they have these nachos that are oh, you can do lives in Substack. That's cool. But there are these nachos with like no additives and stuff, so I can eat them. So I'm excited that I got those. And I'm just excited to eat and make. Honestly, even cooking is a creative act. If you love cooking, keep doing it. And again, it's not like it and when I say showing people what's possible and whatnot, like it's not like if you love to do something, you have to be on social media or you have to be teaching it or whatever. But it's like it could be as simple as you make dinner for a friend, right? And I don't know, like I just think there's so much power that lies in us following what we have been called here to do. That's how I would watch people like, okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna look into it. Okay, friends, I'm gonna look into the Substack thing. I'm gonna look into how I'm gonna structure the podcast and everything. But thanks for helping me brainstorm. It's always so helpful. But I love you guys so much. You have no idea. I am so happy and excited to be on this journey with you. Oh, someone says they're cooking right now. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you on the next live or possibly Zoom. Bye, guys.